Howdy, Trainiacs. Welcome to what is the first official episode of Randall's Rails on Polar Sharks Gaming. In this series, I hope to eventually cover all the base game of Railway Empire and its DLC, along with most of my favorite workshop scenarios. Share in the comments which scenarios I should focus on next, or suggest a workshop for me to check out. We're going to focus on acquiring gold checkmarks for all tasks wherever possible, which is achieving a goal in half the allotted time for the maximum score. There are a number of different ways to play this game and achieve these goals, and we're on a quest to find the most efficient way. Hopefully you pick up a tip or two from watching my videos, and I'd love to meet new people who share my passion for this game, who might teach me some things that I have been unable to learn on my own. Please give me tips if I need them. I can take criticism, as I might not recognize a flaw until someone else points it out. I've also been dabbling in speedrunning Railway Empire, and you can find the link to my first submission, which is also Campaign Chapter 1, in the description for this video or from my channel, Polar Sharks Gaming. Smash the like button on this video and subscribe for more upcoming Railway Empire content. Alright, it should be tons of fun. I can't wait to get started. Let's get into Campaign Chapter 1, the Great Plains. So for this one, we're going to start in Omaha with 650,000, and we don't have to deal with any competitors. Normally, we're going to play with the maximum amount of opponents, and we're going to play on very hard AI. We're also going to play on realistic rail network all the time, and always on Trainiac mode. The game will never pause other than when newspapers and offers are displayed. We'll get a nice juicy bonus at the end on our rating.
Let's go. Time is money.
We get to be the industrialist. Our factories are 50% cheaper, and we're able to buy a town's factory without an auction. However, auctions are 50% more expensive. Now, normally, I'd blaze through all these and skip the newspaper articles and cinematics, but for this, we'll just let them play out.
In 1863, on the banks of the Missouri River, the last chapter in the monumental undertaking of the Transcontinental Railroad began. The workers of the Union Pacific Railroad began laying their tracks westward from Omaha through the wild heart of the North American continent. Massive challenges awaited them. Away from all civilization, the country was vast, the weather ruthless, and the challenges tremendously energy-sapping. But there was a masterstroke of modern engineering to be accomplished, to tame the wilderness and to conquer it with steel, fire, and steam. Never before had anything like this been ventured, but the time was ripe.
Greetings. My name is Thomas Clark Durand. Exactly, the head of Union Pacific.
We'll just let
We
Thomas
will go
talk
down
us
in
through
history
it as if we've
as
never
the
played
ones
before.
who created
If you'd like to see me
Transcontinental
speedrun this
Railroad.
level, check
That,
the
my friend,
description
is
for a
your
link.
job as chief engineer. I can supervise everything here on site right now, as I have to meet with some politicians in Washington. First, you should familiarize yourself with the basic controls. Move the camera in all directions. Now test the camera's zoom function. You can also rotate the camera. Give it a try. Very good. Now you know the basic controls.
Now for opening
The
bonds, we
first
have two
task
options.
is to
We
create a rail
can
connection between Omaha
open them
and
right
Norfolk
away
to
when
the
we're only
northwest.
worth 690,000,
cities will
for
need a
example.
station
Or
for
we
this.
can wait until we're
You already have a station
worth a
in
lot
Omaha,
more, and then
but
we
you
can
still
open
need
up
to
a
build
bigger
one in
bond,
Norfolk.
which is what I like
To do this, switch to building construction mode. Very good. Now the two stations need to be connected with tracks. To do this, switch to track construction mode. Now plan the tracks between the stations in Norfolk and Omaha. To do this, select the two station tracks one after the other. Then pay for your track planning. Now create your first train so that you can set up a rail line between your stations. Initially, your train only exists on paper. It's not much use to you without a locomotive. Additionally, each train needs a rail line that passes through all the
Alright, we got our
stations
first
it should
locomotive
stop
going.
at. Now
I just
join
love
your
how we
two
can ride the
stations to rail
trains
line by
and
selecting
see up
them
close and
one
personal
after the other.
the rail
That's
line
enough
we
for your
built in this
first rail
game.
line. Now confirm it so it becomes active. Very good.
Hopefully we have time
Now
to
you
ride
can
on
see
some
the
trains in
journey
the
your
future,
train
as
will
normally
take.
you need
If
all
there
the
is
time
something
to
to
build
transport, the train will
money-making
automatically
lines.
take it.
Don't have time to actually sit on the train and ride it.
However, as each locomotive needs water, sand, and lubricant on its journey, you have to place a supply tower along the route. Very good. Your train is now traveling between Omaha and Norfolk. But you can do even more. Each city needs goods from the surrounding area. For
All right,
example,
let's hook up
every
to some
city
corn.
needs corn. Look, there is a corn farm near Omaha. Until now, the corn has made it to the city in the conventional way, but we want to change that. And now things are getting tricky as we have to deal with the logistical problem. As Norfolk should also enjoy fresh corn, there will soon be 2 trains traveling on the stretch of track between Omaha and Norfolk. Of course, this will then result in a conflict. Since trains cannot travel through each other, you'll need a sidetrack between Omaha and Norfolk. This consists of 1 parallel track and 2 signals. First, create a sidetrack. It needs to be at least long enough for a fully loaded train. Excellent. However, your trains won't necessarily use the sidetrack, as they generally always take the shortest route. For this reason, you'll also have to specify the direction of travel on each parallel track. Now open Building Construction mode and set up a signal in the highlighted area pointing in the direction of the switch. Trains will then be able to stop here when the single track is in use. Now make sure that the track can only be traveled in one direction. For this purpose, set the signal so that trains coming from the opposite direction cannot pass. Excellent. Now do the same on the parallel track so that each parallel track has a different direction. Place a second signal in the highlighted area and block the track to trains coming from the opposite direction. Very good. I'm sure that wasn't at all easy. You will soon come to realize that signals are an important aid in guaranteeing smooth rail operations. You will find more information and tips under Hints and Tips. Now assemble a new train and give it a locomotive and a rail line. Your new rail line should run via Omaha to Norfolk so that the people of Norfolk can be supplied with corn. Excellent. The corn farm will automatically make use of your train because the cities along your rail line are demanding corn. Conventional transportation is much more costly for the farm. We're still missing something. Locomotives wear out over time and need to be regularly maintained so they can perform their duties more reliably. For this purpose, there needs to be at least 1 maintenance building on each rail line where locomotives can be serviced if necessary. Construct such a maintenance building at your station in Omaha now. To do this, select the station itself and
Okay,
expand
that's
the
it for the
station with this
tutorial.
building.
Now we get our
Right.
first task list.
We've been lollygagging
So let's
for
get
long
these
enough.
first couple of
I need
cities
to return to
connected
Washington for
and get these
further
connection
miserable
bonuses that it's going to give
negotiations
us.
with our representatives of the people. I've written a task list for you. Take a look at it and complete the tasks within the given time period. Do not disappoint me. Good. That's finished. You're making progress.
So we've connected North Platte and Cheyenne,
Those
and
politicians
now we
in
need to
Washington
bring
get on
16
one's
cattle to
nerves.
Denver,
But
16 meat
now
to
let's get back
Cheyenne.
to your
We
tasks.
need to grow our rail
As you can
network
see,
to
Cheyenne is still a
150,000.
little town
We need a
hoping for an
population of
upswing
30,000
caused by
in
the railroad
Cheyenne.
connection. But a
And
city
we
will
need to
only
connect
attract
Omaha
new
and Rock
inhabitants
Springs
if it is
and bring
supplied
100
with enough
passengers
goods.
from Cheyenne to Rock Springs without stopping.
Cities receive basic goods from the surrounding area. If you construct stations in the right places and establish rail lines, your trains will be used to transport goods and you will make profits for transportation. But for this, you have to know what goods a city actually needs. You can find out any city's current needs. Now select Cheyenne and view the city's demand for goods. As you can see, Cheyenne currently needs only a handful of goods, and you can only deliver goods that are in demand. As the city grows, it will demand further goods. At the moment, you can supply grain and wood. Both of these goods are available to the north of Cheyenne. Connect Cheyenne to a timber business and a wheat farm and establish a new rail line that connects them both
Now
to
we could
Cheyenne.
slap a station down here like it's asking us to, but it's a great example of what is a perfect location for a through warehouse. So let's slap a warehouse down here in between the wood and the grain. And we'll call it through warehouse 1. Okay, so let's put grain and wood in there. And there's also corn up to the northeast, and Cheyenne needs corn. So we're going to get corn into our warehouse here to bring in directly to Cheyenne. We're going to run 2 platforms from each station, and we'll get 3 locomotives going, bringing grain, corn, and wood into Cheyenne.
Well done. The city will soon grow. You can see how well it is being supplied at any time in the city dialogue. Basically, a city will grow once its demands are sufficiently met. I think you have learned enough. Complete the rest of your tasks. But you certainly won't have any success with so little capital. I might have not planned on this being a loss-making business, but I'll help you out this one last time.
Okay, so we still need to get cattle into Denver. We need to get meat into Cheyenne, grow our rail network, and get some people over to Rock Springs from Cheyenne. So let's connect our cattle farm to Denver. All right, 9 stations currently connected. There's no stopping us. Randall's Rails, although on this one we're known as Union Pacific Railroad. Let's get our first locomotive, bringing cattle into Denver. So now we're worth over $2 million, so we can take out some decent sized bonds and continue building. We don't quite have enough resources coming into Cheyenne yet for it to grow.
Now you've managed to cross the Great Plains. A masterpiece.
We're going to force it to load 4 passenger cars, and that should give us the 100 we need for this level. We'll get trains running people in from Norfolk to North Platte, and from North Platte into Cheyenne, which should raise the population of Cheyenne to give us the 30,000 we need for this scenario. Alright, so now we've got corn coming into Cheyenne amongst everything else, and Cheyenne is growing. We'll spread out the platform usage there in Cheyenne. Should have done that first. Alright, let's build a sidetrack for this line coming into Cheyenne. That's a good quarter, thanks to the connection bonuses. Alright, so now if we want, we could put another train here coming in from North Platte to Cheyenne. Excellent. So we've got another train coming in. We're halfway to the allotted cattle. Sorry, the required cattle. We're almost done bringing meat in. And we're continuing to grow our network and build up Cheyenne. And that train is still holding, waiting for its right amount of passengers. So we'll connect Rapid City. And that almost gives us the 150,000. We just need to grow Cheyenne a little bit more. Alright, so it's growing at 79%, so we still need a little bit more corn into Cheyenne, and we need to produce more beer. Uh-oh, New York's having problems.
Well done. The citizens of Denver are impressed.
All right, so we've got our 16 loads of cattle into Denver. Now we just need to finish off bringing the meat in, growing Cheyenne, growing our network, and bringing our passengers over to Rock Springs. All right, nice. It gave us a connection bonus over here for cattle, so let's plug in our cattle to Omaha so we can get some meat coming from Omaha and get a little bit more money. All right, Cheyenne's starting to grow fast, so we better get one more locomotive bringing corn into the through warehouse.
Cheyenne will flourish thanks to you. And for each mile
we
of
just hit
track that we lay,
150,000.
we receive 10 square miles of land. The politicians have no idea of the value of the assets they're giving away, but that stays between us.
Signals, signals, signals. We're always doing signals. All right, let's bring in some people from Rapid City to Cheyenne through the warehouse.
Do you know
we'll
that
have
many
to connect
people
these
call
two
the vast
lines so
stretch of
they
land between the
intersect.
Mississippi and California the Great American Desert? Those fools. Once my railroad has opened everything up, the value of these lands will go through the roof.
All right, passengers and mail into Cheyenne from Rapid City, along with one load of meat. Now we're finished bringing meat into Cheyenne. We're finished our 150,000. We just need to grow Cheyenne and send our passengers on their way. "99% fulfillment in Cheyenne. We're doing all we can do." Once we hit 30,000 in Cheyenne, we can plug in our sugar, which is fairly close. We have the money, so we can connect it in advance. We'll just force our locomotive to carry a minimum of 8 rail cars. All right, 13 stations connected. Go Union Pacific. Let's throw some supply towers down so we don't have to look at the exclamation points.
Yes, one more thing. Your company has also a research department to help you unlock new locomotives and other innovations. Open the research dialog to find out more about it. Here you will find the advances that can be achieved in the current
8%
era.
more passengers.
Advances from previous eras are usually already active.
We'll have to get
but what the future
50%
holds,
profits
we
to
do
our
not know.
factories to open up the next
For each
passenger
advance,
boost.
you require innovation points, which you get automatically.
So all we
each
need to do
month,
now is
and which
grow
can be
Cheyenne to
increased in
30,000
various ways.
and send our passengers
Now,
over to
take a
Rock
look
Springs.
around here,
Hey, there they go.
and then
Let's ride
unlock
this
an
train.
innovation of your choosing. How about a new locomotive? My opponents say I'm lining my own pockets. These are, of course, hideous lies.
Absolutely
And
beautiful
look at it
coming
this
in
way.
the
With
valley.
the profits I'm making, I
Great
can
Plains
invest
into the
much
Rocky
more.
Mountains.
Jobs, jobs, jobs.
Here we are coming into the town of Rock Springs. Hey everybody, great to be here. Alright, all we need to do now is finish growing Cheyenne, and we're done. Campaign Chapter 1, The Great Plains.
I have to wrangle with a lot of competitors, but if one person
We have a bunch of
really
money,
gets
so
on
really
my
we should be
nerves,
spending
then
it
it's
so we can
that
make more money.
Beatrix
But on this
von
scenario, it
Pomp.
doesn't matter, since
What?
we're almost done
You
our
haven't
tasks.
encountered it yet? Be glad. She takes everyone to the cleaners.
Still getting 99% fulfillment, and we just need over 1,000 people to come into Cheyenne, and we're done. So just over 100 more people, and that's it.
Excellent. Cheyenne is becoming a
Victory.
major railroad hub.
All right,
and the
let's
credit
see
is all ours.
how we did for a rating.
Progress is enormous.
And what
the
our
Far
rank
West
is.
is no longer so far away anymore, and the people are slowly.
In spite of all the challenges, the Union Pacific Railroad managed to cross the endless expanses of the Great Plains and conquer the merciless slopes of the Rocky Mountains. The Central Pacific Railroad approached from the west, but the winter of 1868 brought all work to a standstill. The two lines lay just a few hundred miles across from each other, in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. The dream of the first transcontinental railroad seemed to be within touching distance, but was buried by house-high masses of snow and blown away by icy snowstorms. A dream that had begun almost 4 decades before.
So we got a full score, perfect time rating. Our rank as president, our company value is 3.2 million. Our route lengths are 3,900 kilometers. And our overall rating is 37.5. That's a perfect score. So we got all gold check marks on our tasks, and that scenario is pretty easy. Most of them are hard as hell. So that's all for campaign chapter 1, the Great Plains. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Join me on the next episode of Randall's Rails on Polar Sharks Gaming for campaign chapter 2. Hit that like button and subscribe for more upcoming Railway Empire content.